Hey guys, this is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area and also a licensed lender. And right now, the biggest thing that we're doing is these DSCR loans for investors. And I want to do a video today on how does a DSCR loan benefit an investor. As an investor like myself, why would I want to do a DSCR loan over any other loan product? And I'm glad you asked, right? So let's answer that question. So with a DSCR loan, there's not much qualification on your side. Meaning the only thing they're going to check is your credit report. They are going to do a credit pull. They're going to get a credit score. However, that's where it ends. They're not going to check your debt to income ratio. They're not going to check your income. They're not going to check to, any kind of crazy stuff. There are some things you don't want to have in your credit though. You don't want to have a recent bankruptcy, recent foreclosures, any of that stuff, because that's going to impact you qualifying for the loan. But let's say they pull your credit is pretty good. What you're going to use to see if you qualify for the loan is going to be the property that you're purchasing. So they're going to be looking at what the debt service is. And the debt service is going to be what is going to be your monthly mortgage, taxes, insurance, and HOA, right? That's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at that and they're going to compare that to what is the potential income or what income is the property currently getting. Now, there's situations where as an investor, you'll be buying a property and maybe the property is in disrepair, which means you're going to have to fix it. Or maybe the people have lived there for a long time, so they're not paying current market rent. So what DSCR does to establish what the current market rent is, when the appraiser goes out there to appraise the property during the loan process, the appraiser is also going to do a market analysis of the market rent for that particular area. They're going to compare the property that you're buying versus other similar properties in a certain radius of that property. So if you're in a community like in Florida where we are, a lot of homes are in these developments and communities. So if the property is in a community or development, they're going to look at similar homes renting in that particular development to determine market rent. And that's what they're going to use. Now, here's the thing about that. It's just like the appraisal. It works just like a regular appraisal, right? So whatever it is that rent last in that community, or whatever it is that rent in the last 3 months or 6 months, that's what they're going to use. They're going to first start with the last 30 days. If nothing is available, they're going to go to 60 days. If nothing is available, they're going to go to 90 days, and they keep doing it up to 6 months. That's how they're going to find it. So the most recent rentals. So if somebody rented in your neighborhood, if somebody rented a home for cheap, let's say they were desperate, they just wanted to get it rented, and let's say the market rent was really $2,500, but they rented for $2,200, and theirs was the last that rented, and it's similar to your home, they're going to kind of go by that. On the other end, let's say somebody was they've renovated their home, they have granite, quartz, all that great stuff, and the market rent is really $2,500, but they were able to get $2,700, then that's what they're going to use. So it goes both ways, right? So they're going to use whatever that potential monthly rent is going to be, right, or is, versus the debt service of your monthly debt service. So that's how you're going to qualify the property. So knowing this information, you could now go out looking for properties with ammunition because you know what they're looking for. You know that your debt service has got to be less than the income, the monthly income. And I mean, that's Investor 101. Nobody's going to buy a property with getting $2,500 a month for rent as an example and paying $3,000 a month in mortgage. I mean, that's crazy, right? So that's kind of what they're looking for. The more cushion you have with that, the better interest rate you're going to get, and the more you could play it, the property will qualify for the loan. Let's talk about the interest rate. The interest rate is going to vary. The interest rate is going to vary based upon the qualifying factor of what is the debt service, what is the monthly income, right? The more space we have between that, we want the rent to be really high. We want debt service to be really low. The more of that we have, the better interest rate you'll get from them, right? Now, let's talk about prepayment penalties, because in a DSCR loan, you could do a loan with a prepayment penalty if you want to get a low interest rate. A lot of prepayment penalty is going to be a 3-year prepayment penalty. But here's what my advice would be. If you're buying the property to kind of have it for a while, you don't intend to sell in the next 3 years, and it gives you a better interest, you got to make sure the interest rate makes sense. So if he's giving you a better interest rate and you don't have to pay any points down, then that would make sense, right? However, if you have a 3-year prepayment penalty and it's not really making a dent in your interest rate and you still got to pay points, then that may not be a great idea. So those are some of the things you got to look at. You got to like play around with the numbers to see where you would fall there. So you can use a DSCR loan to buy Airbnb property, short-term rental property, long-term rental property, any investment property. In our area, Airbnb is a big deal. Short-term renting is a big deal. So a lot of our investors buy those. We also have investors though that will buy new construction. I forgot about that. Let's talk about that. So a lot of new construction developments, the builder will pay your closing costs if you use their preferred lender. Sometimes the preferred lender is not familiar with a DSCR loan and you may not be able to do that. However, there are a few builders in our area that their preferred lender do the DSCR loan. So you could buy a new construction investment property, still get everything the builder is offering you, like free upgrades, pay down your mortgage rate, pay your closing costs. You could still qualify for that and then buy the property, and then you could decide if you want to rent it to a long term or short term, whatever you want to do. In our market right now, a lot of investors are buying new construction homes and they're renting them out to long-term tenants. That's just the norm. I was in one development yesterday. I went to look at a rental for one of my investors to see what the rents were, and 5 homes on that street was for rent, and that's all new construction, all of them. Of course, I went in every single one of them because I wanted to see what the rental rate would be, how it compares to the other one. Just to give you an example. So if you're looking to invest, you could also invest in new construction homes. You could rent those. You could do a new construction if it qualifies for Airbnb. Now remember guys, Airbnb is the same as short-term rental. It's just that Airbnb, just like Kleenex control tissue, Airbnb control the short-term rental market, so to speak. So some people believe that Airbnb is different from short-term renting. It's not true. Airbnb is a short-term renting platform. So you don't have to only use Airbnb. You could use Vrbo, Booking.com, all that great stuff, right? So if you bought a property, a DSCR loan can allow you to buy a property for short-term or long-term renting, as long as the property qualifies. Now, let's say you're buying a home and there was somebody already living there. Let's say it's been used as an investment property and they're currently getting X amount per month for rent. You have to determine if that's fair market value rent or is the rent lower. Because if the rent is lower, then you could increase the rent. Or let's say the person is coming up to the end of their lease and there were some deferred items that you could go and renovate and fix and then increase the rental rate. You got to also think about that as well. So you could give us a call, send us a text, 407-791-4713. We do consultations all the time. We do a lot of Zoom calls because a lot of our clients, believe it or not, are not from Florida. They're from out of town. They're from all over the world. Not just out of town, but out of the country, like Brazil, England, Canada, all over the place, right? So we do a lot of Zoom consultation to go over some of these things that we're discussing over a video, which I can't go into all the details on. But a DSCR loan is very good for any investment property as long as the numbers work. And as an investor, if the numbers doesn't work, why are you even investing in it? The point of doing investment or any investment property is for the numbers to work so you make money. And the last note I'm going to say is you want to make sure that you have home warranty insurance on all of your properties, because you never know when something is going to go wrong and you don't want to have to pay for every single thing that goes wrong. Like the stove isn't working, the fridge isn't working, the dishwasher isn't working, the washer dryer isn't working, air conditioning heater is not working, whatever it is, the doorbell isn't working, something is wrong with the pool pump. All that stuff is covered under home warranty. And there's some good and bad about that. There's some benefits and disadvantage and all that stuff. But in a whole, for me, I feel like home warranty insurance definitely makes a lot of sense, even if you don't get to use it all the time. So thank you so much for watching this video. I always try to bring you stuff that's current and on the market. I know interest rate is a big factor. The DSCR loan does come with great interest rate based upon how the numbers are working, based upon the monthly rent versus the monthly debt service. But that's something we could work around to find the ideal property. I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.